Hello, hello, hello. This is video 746, which I have just a couple of odds and ends. I just want to kind of talk a little bit about a couple of different things going on. It is April 6th, 2021. Talk a little bit about personal massagers and about being back on estrogen and a couple things, just kind of a catch up video. Um, Firstly, I had my fourth estrogen shot over the weekend, and I can definitely tell you that my fourth of the second set. I started giving myself estrogen shots about a month ago, obviously 4 weeks, and I'm just now starting to feel that what seems to me to be somewhat like a pillow or a cushion, little pillow, just soft. Put your head in, feel so comfortable. Um, I'm beginning to feel that cushion. And again, it's probably all in my head. It's a pile of shit. I'm full of shit. Okay. Oh, look at the airplane back there. It looks like it's going to north by northwest, the airplane. Anyway, but anyway, but no, I can feel a difference in here. Okay. And then I've noticed somewhat of my interfacing when I talk to people, particularly people I don't know. Um, I've been able to let my guard down and somewhat let some inner personality out, which again might be full of shit, but that's just my own opinion. Uh, so some mental changes and some personality changes, and then also some physical changes. Um, I was off estrogen for about a year and a half, and a lot of my body got recycled. You know, kind of like how it builds up stuff, and when you don't get those instructions, the body is very makes good on what it has, and so a lot of my breast tissue had gotten recycled and body tissue and everything. And I've noticed, like I said, over the past 4 weeks, it's like, the old the blueprints that we were using are being looked at. Okay, we got to add this over here, and we got to take from over there. Specifically, my breasts are sore as they're expanding again. I mean, they're growing back out, so that's good news. That's good news. That's good news. So a lot of changes kind of going on, and just taking it one day at a time, just one day at a time. So that's really good news, and whatnot. So that's that. And then the other thing I want to talk a little bit about is, um, well, we know that. I'm trying to think how we want to get there. How do I want to drive to this point? Um, there's such things as zero depth GCS, right? And if you're like me and you didn't have a big Schwanstucke, then your garage can only handle compact cars. Okay, my vagina opening is very teeny tiny. Okay, very teeny teeny tiny because I had a small penis. Okay, euphemisms aside, I had a very small penis. It wasn't very big. Only so much you can do with a little piece of cloth, right? You're not gonna make a three-piece suit out of a handkerchief. Okay, so don't have much of an opening, and I don't have much depth. Okay, that's the euphemism I was driving towards. Um, and so it can be really disheartening to have someone, friend, trans friend, brag about how many dots they can get in their vagina with their dilators and whatnot. After a while, it just gets kind of old. You're happy for them. I'm happy for you. But after a while, you begin to feel inadequate. Okay. So this is some good tips if you have a small vagina, or maybe if you're like me and your surgery was a little botched, you don't quite have the sensation that you want. Um, I really needed a small vibrator, okay, and the smallest one I could get, um, I threw away. I can't show it to you, not that I necessarily would, but it was about the size of a toilet paper roll. And it had the two little rabbit, it was a phallus with the little rabbit ears on the side. And I just, I wasn't equipped right for it. Okay. It just didn't do anything for me. I'm small. It's big. Okay. Um, so I threw it away. And over the 2 or 3 years here, I've tried to get like something small, whatever. And I was in my grocery store, and this brand Plus One. I don't necessarily know who makes it. If it's like a company, I mean it's Plus One, but I was thinking it might have been like you know a company. I'm looking for a name. Plus One, CLIO, made in China. But anyway, go to Plus One, the website. I just saw it on here, myplusone.com, and it was this little but this is the shape of it and about the right size of it too. Little vibrating bullet, only about as big as your finger, my index finger, and it was small enough that it could get where it needed to go and give a little bit of play. Okay, and uh, it was very enjoyable. Um, and they have a couple come in different shapes. This one has a little more of a round head on a flexible. This is one that is actually an air pump that blows blows on your stuff and makes it feel really good. And then there's one that I don't have the box anymore, um, but it looks like I really wish I had the box because it's my favorite one. Anyway, oh, it looks kind of like a telephone. It's got an angle to it, a curve, and I think specifically it or looks like kind of like a banana. It's got a curve to it with a little ball on one end, a bigger ball on the other end. And really, it's made to be like a G spot vibrator. If you're so blessed with a large opening and canal that you could actually get it in there and, you know, get it in the spot and find your G spot and, you right on the target, right on the money. Um, and it's almost too big for me. Yeah, I'm small. I'm small. I'm sorry. I'm getting my, the male programming up here is saying you want to be big, you want to have a big cock. Um, but anyway, the curved one it does it for me. But these are like I said, that Walgreens had them, you know, and maybe $20 a piece. I wanted to try different ones, obviously, and see kind of what came out. But I just wanted to share that if you have a zero depth vagina, or you just like me and things didn't go as planned, and you're gonna try and make the best of what you have with what you got. I really, like I said, the brand name is, like I said, it's Plus One, myplusone.com, and Amazon's got them. That's where I bought these from, and it came in a box. Okay, came in a box, an Amazon box. Doesn't say vibrators inside. Um, but anyway, so that's kind of my second item on this video is just you know the temptation after my surgery was that I was going to get these dildos and the vibrating and whatever, and it just didn't appeal to me. It didn't do anything for me. It didn't do anything for me. Um, like I said, the little curved banana thing that did something for me. But the third point that I want to come to builds off the second one, and that is that um, I never quite had the, I don't want to say addiction, but that's not it. The, can't think of the right word. I never, having sex was never the end all be all. It wasn't the paramount thing. it would be nice. I still think it would be nice. Um, but anyway, my work today came out. Today is International um, Asexual Day. And apparently in October is when Asexual Week is. But today is International Asexual Day, just like kind of like the Transgender Day of Remembrance, the Trans Day of Visibility is just a day to get information out. And that's kind of what today was. And I had never really given a read to what being asexual was. And I know I just gave you like 5 minutes of vibrators here, okay? But um, I never really looked into what being asexual was. And the more that I read about it, I'm like, that's me, you know? So I'm thinking, I'm going to, ponder it some more, but, I really think I'm asexual. I'm not attracted to anybody. And definitely more interested in the personality and, you know, I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, I joke about if, Thor, Chris Hemsworth, as being like what I enjoy watching, but it's an act. It's not uh, when you get down to the nitty gritty, it's not really true. There really is not. I can't. And my daughter asked me this the other day because she said, "Well, what are you attracted to?" And I couldn't come up with anything. I was like, "Well, I don't know." And she kind of like, "Well, is it women?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Well, is it men?" And I said, "I don't know." I said, "I want to experience it. I want to be wooed." I keep saying wooed. I want to be courted, somewhat because I did that for so long and I'd like to experience the other side of it. But when I think back to my life before transitioning, it, you know, um, there's been so many times where I can't really isolate being transgender from being asexual. Okay. If we had some Venn diagrams going on, if we had some circles and where they overlap, you know, but it's just there are parts of my life that just make more sense now. Because, and maybe before I thought, well, it's just because I'm trans. I was a woman in a man's body, or, I was a girl in a boy's body. Um, but like I said, the more I think about it now, I'm like, this makes a lot more sense. And I've made videos before about you know, how rare it is for a trans woman to post, post transition, meet somebody and they hook up and become in this relationship. And, maybe that was my own prejudice and my own, this other driving nature was kind of coming in and just saying, ho hum, well, that's what it means to be a trans woman in this day and age, at present. When in reality, I think it might have been my asexuality kind of creating a buffer, and saying, you know, I don't know. Gotta work this out. This is a new thing. I gotta think it through, but I did just kind of want to make the video, and it was definitely part of my kind of being somewhat of a post-op. Is you know, and one of the reasons why I stopped dilating was because I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't, and um, for whatever reason, and other people they go crazy. It's almost like when you first transition and you go through that puberty stage, and it's like as a post-op, you're like start to think about, now that I have the proper setup to have some kind of intercourse, that's what you get focused on and focused on and focused on. And then in my case, there's kind of this bottoming out when it doesn't happen. And you're like, well, I'm happy with me. So I just have to meet someone else who's happy with me. I don't know. Anyway, bow wow. Just thought I'd share. Food for thought. Food for thought. And apparently, according to the Trevor Project, the little spreadsheet I saw, apparently, of all those surveyed, roughly about 20% of trans folk identified as being asexual. So we'll see. We'll see. Something for further development. And I think that is just about it. We had a bit of a blow over the weekend, or yesterday or today, in the state of Arkansas. The governor of Arkansas, for whatever reason, decided not to push the anti-trans bill, which was hallelujah. However, even though the legislature passed it, he vetoed it, and then the legislature overrode his veto, and they went through with it. Um, and I can only imagine the damage that's going to be done to trans youth in Arkansas. And someone said, well, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And my first reaction was, well, we need some sports venue to get behind us, like they did with the bathroom bills in North Carolina in 2016. We need some sport. I mean, look at the racial stuff that's going on right now in Georgia with them changing the voting laws. Um, they didn't take anything seriously until Major League Baseball said, well, we're not going to have our all-star game there because we believe in, voter rights and everything else. And, like I said, we need some sort of sports venue. The NCAA has come out in favor of trans stuff. Um, you know, the only way, in my opinion, I could be wrong, but it's my opinion. Um, you know, a politician, the only way you're going to convince them to change is to hit them where it hurts, take away their voters, or take away their pocketbook. You know, and you know, it's going to take some, like I said, some sports. The NFL comes out against bullying in trans, youth. There's got to be something, and you got to hit them where it hurts, which is in their pocketbook. And I remember when I wrote my state legislature, who's Todd Young in Indiana, and I wrote him about the Equality Act, and he wrote back, kind of saying, "Well, you're protected by the Article 17 of the Constitution, the sexual." Da, 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 da. And then he said, and I can't support it because it gives money to abortion clinics or something. And I felt like I wanted to say, look, Todd, you represent me. I'm in your district. It's what my friend Dawn did, to Knucklehead. I can't think of his name now. Rand Paul. She said, Knucklehead, you represent me. You're not there to express your opinion. And so I think there's sort of this preconceived notion, unfortunately, that Republicans, conservatives, okay, you can have fiscal conservatives, but I mean, religion and stuff like that, they feel like their base, and definitely there is definitely a minority who was once the majority, but luckily they're minority, who are, transphobic and xenophobic and everything. But at some point, the politician who realizes that, the tipping point, if I go one route, I piss these people off. If I go the other route, I piss these people off. So the question for the politician who wants to stay in power is, who's the majority voter? According to the Trevor Project, it's like 18% of the American population is transgender. Okay, so in a state, if you got every 18% of the voting populace to show up on election day and cast their vote, or start sending letters and say, I'm one of your constituents, and this is how I think you should vote. If I was a politician, I would put out a straw poll amongst my constituents in my district and say, I'm just curious how you feel about blah, and really try not to write it in such language that forces an opinion one way or the other, because we know how that can be done. And if you don't know that, that can be done. Uh, as a teacher, I can tell you, you can write a test a certain way to shift someone in a certain direction. But yeah, put out a very generic straw poll, and you know, at some point, a politician's going to do that and say, you know what, I've been kind of barking up the wrong tree. I'm going to lose my seat if I don't go this route. Again, it's not a matter of what you would hope the politician thinks, you know, your way, our way, whatever will get us to the Equality Act. But at some point, it has to be, it's to their political advantage, even if it's just to save face or, to agree with the growing majority instead of this little hate minority, you know, stereotypical GOP, the holy trinity of GOP symbols, the fetus, the American flag, and the cross. You know, at some point, the this other is going to outweigh these guys, and the smart politician's going to switch over, if nothing other than just to be reelected. You know. So anyway, just my opinion. May not be worth anything, but that's it. I think that's it. And on that note, had a really fun weekend. I got to play D&D. I got to play in a game, which was really cool. I won't do her voice now, but I really got to play a little girl. It was a lot of fun. It's my inner girl. My inner girl. Caroline. It's my inner girl. Ah, That's where that cushion, that's where that pillow comes in. Good little soft pillow. Oh, you're full of shit. I'm full of shit. I'll be the first to admit it. All right. Till next time, I wish you the best of luck in becoming your authentic self, and would encourage you to be open to new experiences and new perspectives, new perceptions. See if you like things. It's really generic and not specific. But anyway, the best of luck to you, and we'll see you next time. All right, hang in there, folks. Bye bye.